Track Record with your hosts Mike Shea and Robert Yetter. Brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Track Record. We are so pleased that you have decided to join us today here on the Eventide Entertainment podcast feed. My name is Robert Yetter.
And my name is Mike Shea.
All right. So, another week. We decided that this week was going to be less fantastic and creamy than the last week. Yeah. We did concept albums. I listened to the two albums by Camelot, The Black Halo and Epica, and Mike listened to a four-piece concept conglomerate by Thrice called The Alchemy Index, and all of the albums, so all 6 of them, got perfect scores. We go by purple stars here at Track Record, 4 purple stars out of 4.
That was a great episode last week, man. This was so much good music. I hope everybody took the time to actually go out and check out the music we listened to last week and enjoyed yourselves with some good tunes this past week, because it was definitely worth it.
Yes, it was. I had a excellent time doing that episode, and an excellent time listening to Camelot. And actually, in the car today, myself and my wife and my lovely daughter went to an Asian market, and on the way there, I decided that we were going to listen to some of the music that you had assigned me for this week. And I was like, I don't want to listen to this. I would rather, why don't we put on the Camelot instead? Like, you need to listen to that. But I didn't do that, and we just listened to Hootie and the Blowfish.
This is going to be a less groovy episode, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be funny and it's going to be entertaining, but man, it's not going to be a lot of love getting thrown around here this week.
That's right, but this show is a prime candidate for the Track Record drinking game. Everyone, let's see, if Mike burps, you drink. If I say, what do I say, jizz, you drink.
If you say jizz, you drink.
If any of us say generic, you drink. If I mention Gary Busey, you drink.
I think that's it for now. I think there was one more, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah,
so just drink along. Mike, you drinking anything tonight? Today?
Oof.
This morning? Wherever we are?
I'm drinking, this is a Cherry Coke can, but inside of it is Cherry Coke and bourbon. So.
There you go. Bring it on with the cherries.
Hell yeah.
I broke into my beverages too early this weekend, and I did have some reds. It was the black cherry ale, and it was delicious, and I drank it all.
I haven't tried that one yet.
It was good. We've discussed the ciders before and where reds is on the list, but the black cherry was nice.
Nice.
So
nice.
Right now I'm drinking some green tea.
Hey man, sometimes you just need something a little simple.
There you go. All right, cool. Well, shall we get into it?
I think we should.
Shall we get into it? What do we have this week?
This week we're doing the epitome of 90s music. What each of us felt was the epitome of, what music was like in the 90s, the kind of thing. If somebody said, hey, what was music like in the 90s? Here, listen to this album. Robert, why don't you tell the folks at home what you assigned me for this week?
Okay, so when we were talking about this again, there's if you take into account genre, it gets really hard, because there's just so many things that came out in the 90s and so many different genres. But I decided to stick with rock, and if someone was to ask me, what do you think was your epitome of music in the 90s, I think that it would be rock, and I think that the band would be the Smashing Pumpkins. and I would say that the album is Siamese Dream. And that one has a fair amount of their early hits on it, I believe. And seriously, if you can't think about the 90s and rock and not think about Smashing Pumpkins. You can think about, the sacred, and I say that with the most amount of irony and sarcasm possible, the sacred Nirvana, or Radiohead are up there for rock in the 90s, or like the Pearl Jams. I'll mention Pearl Jam a little bit later. And also, speaking of Pearl Jams, none of them will be had on this episode, I don't think. So, you've got Siamese Dream by Smashing Pumpkins. Smashing Pumpkins is one of my favorite rock bands. I think that a lot of people may have an aversion to Billy Corgan's singing style, but as far as his songwriting ability, guitar playing ability, I think that Smashing Pumpkins is up there among the best. What do you think?
So I said at the conclusion of last week's show that I've never really been a Smashing Pumpkins fan.
Right.
Years of working in radio, never was a fan. But in all fairness, my only exposure to Smashing Pumpkins had been whatever was on the radio. I had never listened to an album in full ever. So I went into this with an open mind, thinking that maybe listening to it, because I feel that way about some bands where like their radio singles are but the good stuff is
safe.
It's the stuff that you want to listen to is if you go buy the actual disc. And that's common of a lot of bands, especially a lot of rock and heavy bands nowadays, is they write a couple songs for the album that are safe for radio play to get some name recognition, but the good stuff's on the actual album. And after listening to Siamese Dream, I think I can safely say that I'm definitely not a Smashing Pumpkins fan. Classic misdirection. And to kind of knock off of what you said earlier, it really comes down to Billy Corgan's voice. I think lyrically and musically, Smashing Pumpkins is fine. I can't stand the sound of his voice. To me, it sounds like a bad impression of another musician. Like just some other, like if I was doing an impression of some musician, like it sounds like a cartoon voice. It doesn't sound natural or anything. And again, this is just to me. I know a lot of people right now are furiously typing away at their keyboards, but chill the fuck out. This is just a personal taste thing. I don't dig his voice. It made it kind of hard. I got through it all. I was able to listen to it beginning to end in one go. It was tough. I really don't dig his voice at all. His guitar playing is fine. The drums and the bass and all the music's fine, and the lyrics are fine. The lyrics are great. I can't stand Billy Corgan's voice, and that was which kind of made the album really hard to appreciate. I had to take some time and really kind of like go online and read through the lyrics, kind of, with no music. I found some covers on YouTube of other people doing his songs. I tried to find ones where they weren't trying to mimic his voice, and I was like, okay, like with another vocalist, I could really get into Smashing Pumpkins. I really could. Because I think I will say this: there are two songs by the Smashing Pumpkins that I actually do legitimately like. Neither of them are on this album. They're on the soundtrack to one of the worst movies ever made, and that is Batman and Robin.
That's a great movie.
But oh Jesus Christ!
I'm playing.
The very first and very last song on the soundtrack are done by the Smashing Pumpkins. The first one is called "The Beginning Is the End Is the Beginning," and the last one is called "The End Is the Beginning Is the End." And they're two different songs that follow a similar chord progression and lyrical structure, but whereas the first one, "The Beginning," is very typical Smashing Pumpkins. It's fast paced. It's a little, I don't want to say upbeat, but it's got a faster tempo, and it just kind of sounds like your usual Smashing Pumpkins song. But whatever chord progression they used, I felt complemented his voice really well, and I kind of dug it. And then the song that is the end is very slow and creepy and haunting, and it uses the same chorus but different verses, and he sings in a lower register on that one, and I really dig that. And if he did more music like either of those songs, again, I'd probably be more of a Smashing Pumpkins fan. Two of the songs off of this particular album that I know for a fact everybody is going to know are Cherub Rock and Today.
Mm-hmm.
Cherub Rock, I know for a fact, is on one of the Guitar Heroes. I think Today is as well. I could be wrong. I don't know. But those are two songs by the Smashing Pumpkins, other than, the fucking Rat in a Cage song that everybody's heard, everybody knows. I don't know what the fuck the name of the song is. Yeah, I mean, if you've ever heard the Smashing Pumpkins on the radio, you're going to hear a bunch of those songs on this album. This was kind of their, yeah, this was kind of the one that this was like their how many albums was this? This was the second album? Yeah.
I believe so. What was it, 93?
Yeah, because the first one was Gish. So this would have been the second one.
Doesn't Gish just put something in your brain?
If I knew what the fuck that word meant, sure, maybe. Who knows? I'm sorry. I'm trying really hard not to be shitty here. I really am, because I know this is a band with a mighty, mighty fan base.
You can be shitty. Why?
I try not to be too shitty. Well, after I took a huge wet diuretic shit all over 9 Inch Nails a few episodes ago, I'm trying not to be too negative. Because again, my really and truly only issue with this is Billy Corgan's voice.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is the God's honest truth. Again, any other vocalist, I'd be in. Any other style of playing, again, more accustomed to the two songs I described earlier, I'd be in. The style of music on this album with his voice just did nothing for me. It was akin to it was like nails on a chalkboard for me. I found myself physically wincing and cringing a couple times.
You didn't get any of that from Bright Eyes?
I dug Bright Eyes.
Yeah. A lot of people have an aversion to his voice too.
Oh, I dug Bright Eyes. But also with Bright Eyes, the music was written to, I think, complement his voice in Bright Eyes. Mm-hmm. So it didn't hit me that way. To me, Billy Corgan's voice and the music on this album feel a little mismatched. Granted, this was still kind of early in their career, and when you've got Billy Corgan's voice is by no means standard. I mean, it is a unique fucking voice.
Yeah.
You hear him sing, everybody knows what fucking band it is. There's no question whatsoever. So, being only 2 albums in, I can imagine that they may have had some trouble. I can imagine it's hard to write music for his voice. I could just imagine that it might be a bit of a struggle.
Well, I mean, he's typically the premier songwriter for their songs, so it's
right. But I'm saying, even for him, I imagine it's probably. I imagine that if you know what your own voice sounds like I know what my own voice sounds like. So I know the kind of music that needs to be written for my voice to blend well. And so I imagine if you're a guy like Billy who sings this way, finding the right, chord progressions or melodies or whatever that suits your voice. Because if you're a musician, you're going to write whatever music comes to your head. But then you have to try to find a way to sing along with that music. And I have this weird vision in my head of like him with like a shoebox full of notebooks of like, yeah, these are all the chord progressions I wrote that I really like, but I can't sing to them. This sucks. Anybody want to trade me like some Pokemon cards for one of these? I need to get rid of these. They're taking up space in my closet.
I went through, just early in my distinguished musical career, where I apparently don't know what. Never mind. I won't. No beefs. No beefs. Whatever.
Trying so hard not to be mad.
It just astounds me. And so I made a post. It was like, buddy, you got my sloppy seconds, man. I've already been through the same. Like, what are you talking about? Anywho. But
don't be so salty, man.
I'm salt master. Can be as salty as a damn please. What was I talking about?
Something about your music.
Oh yeah, just early on, you just writing kind of simple stuff, and like, especially if you didn't have like a capo on hand or whatever, just like you write stuff and you envision it in your head, and then you like go to sing it, and you're like, I can't even sing what I fucking wrote. Like, what is this? How did I do this? Yeah. Why did my head make this appear? But okay, I can get with the annoyance of Billy Corgan's voice. That's fine.
It's one of those things. Like, and I will say this. I listen to it, and the thought that goes through my head is this: I understand why there are people out there who dig this. It's just not for me.
There you go.
That's how I feel about his voice. I listen to it and I go, yeah, I know some people who would be really into this style of vocals, style of music. It's just not for me. It's the same way with Rocky Horror Picture Show. I have seen Rocky Horror Picture Show probably 100 times in crowds with people doing the callbacks, just at home watching it with people at home doing the call, like any situation you can. I've seen that movie probably 100 times. And every time I see it, it never gets better or worse for me. My reaction is still always the same. I get why this is a huge cult classic. It's just not my thing. Mm-hmm. And I like some weird shit. Just not my thing. And that's Billy Corgan's voice. I don't listen to it and go, man, this sucks. I listen to it and go, not for me. Not my taste.
I feel you.
Yeah, I like my eggs scrambled or over hard. I don't like them sunny side up.
Over hard every time, unless you get them with cheese, then they're scrambled.
Exactly. And there are some people who don't like their eggs like that, and that's fine. My mother, that yolk's got to be runny. My uncle, they got to be sunny side up. Whatever, it's still eggs. It's just we like them different ways. With Billy Corgan, it's still a vocal. It's still vocals. It's still rock. It's just not my thing.
Okay.
So I'm not taking a huge shit on this. I'm just saying his voice doesn't do anything for me. If I'm going to give this thing a score, 2 out of 4 purple stars for me.
Okay.
I can go about
That's
halfway on it. Yeah. Now, like I said, lyrically, it's fine. It's a fine album. Musically, it's a fine album. But when the vocals are what I take issue with, that's a big issue, because that's what I have to listen to for the entire album. It's not like getting past a certain style of guitar playing. It's like, no, this is the guy who's the voice of the band. So I gotta take 2 off. So 2 out of 4 purple stars. I said I can meet you halfway on it.
So you definitely hate Neutral Milk Hotel for that reason, and then
bruh. We talked about this last week. I'm not gonna. I won't say what I said again because what I said last week was so perfect, and I don't want to be a hack. So if you go listen to last week's episode and listen to what I have to say about Neutral Milk Hotel, I got some shit to say about Neutral Milk Hotel.
You hear that, hipsters? You better give them a piece of your mind.
Send me your tweets.
Yeah.
Just send me your tweets. I don't care. I'll turn off notifications and not read any of them. Ha. I'm such a fucking millennial. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, so fucking.
All right. 2 out of 4 for Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins from
Absolutely.
Mr. Mike Shea. All right, man. Well, my rebuttal to you is that what matters most is the overall songwriting, the songs. And I get that you can't get past his voice, but he's an amazing lyricist. He's an amazing guitar player. He is, the Smashing Pumpkins in general are unique. 98% because of Billy Corgan. And so you got to give him respect for that. So 2 out of 4 is fine. That's, not bad, not good.
I'm a compliment Corgan on one thing. The man knows how to write a hook.
He knows how to write everything, man.
He does. But the hooks of his songs, man, are just fantastic. This dude can write a hook better than most pop artists.
Yeah.
Again, not on this album, but despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. That gets into your fucking head, and it stays there.
Yeah.
And the man knows how to write a hook. This guy can write a hook with the best of them. I will never take away his songwriting ability at all.
Okay, cool. All right, man. Well, you gonna give it was a burp. That was the other drinking thing.
Well, you said
you burp. I said that.
You said the burp. It's the burp, the Gary Busey. If you say jizz, if either of us says generic, and I'm gonna think of this fifth one.
Maybe it was something to do with diarrhea.
Break,
I don't know.
Maybe that's what it was. If we say diarrhea,
there you go.
Then you have to take a drink. So
okay.
That one doesn't count, but going forward.
All right. Well, with that, I think we should take a break. After we come back, we'll listen to my thoughts on what you assigned me, eh?
Hey, all right, buddy.
All right, we'll be right back.
There's nothing quite as satisfying as a good conversation with intelligent company. Join comedian Don Smith every week as he sits down and talks with comedians, actors, filmmakers, writers, and everyday schmoes. It's The Life with Don Smith, Wednesdays at noon on 106.9 FM, and now available on the Eventide Entertainment podcast feed every Friday on Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes. Nothing brings people together quite like the movies, and every week Aaron Lopez wants you to join him in a discussion about the latest and greatest in the world of film. So grab a drink, grab some popcorn, and get comfy. Come join Aaron and friends every Thursday at The Drive-In, presented by Eventide Entertainment. There's a reason they call them lazy Sundays. There's nothing better than sitting around and enjoying the comforts of a good book. But what book should that be? Well, every Sunday, Eventide brings you The Bookseller, hosted by Jessica Gillen. Each week, Jessica breaks down a different book and tells you everything you need to know before cracking it open and getting lost in a whole new world. Tune in every Sunday for The Bookseller with Jessica Gillen, brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Welcome back to Track Record. We just got done listening to my take on Smashing Pumpkins.
You had already forgotten it.
I've already forgotten it. Siamese Dream.
Already out of mind.
I am so sleep deprived. It's ridiculous. It's been busy at Eventide, folks. Let me tell you, it's been a busy few weeks.
Yeah.
Since December started, which is a good thing. I mean, it's a good problem to have. So, Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream, we gave it 2 out of 4 stars. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, just felt some type of way about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're continuing on with our Epitome of 90s Music episode this week. And last week I assigned Robert an album that I have history with because it's my mother's favorite band, and it's an album that was on in my car, in my mother's car, all the time, called Cracked Rear View by Hootie and the Blowfish. So, Robert, I'm gonna just let you do what you do, man.
Oh, man. All right. Cracked Rear View. First of all, really terrible album name with for a band that has a really terrible band name, Hootie and the Blowfish. Like, don't name your band like after your friends' nicknames. Don't do that. Just
Don't.
So you got Hootie and the Blowfish, Cracked Rear View. It's really hard to say, actually. And this was actually their debut full-length album. They had spent some time self-releasing EPs and singles and such. I read that they printed 50,000 copies of an EP, and that was back in '93, which got them recognized and signed. And then they made Cracked Rear View, which was an instant success. Came out in '94. And it remains one of the best-selling albums of all time in America. It's gone platinum 16 times. And in the U.S., that is. It was the best-selling album of '95. Now, funny thing is that they had 5 singles from this album, which were 4 of them were really, really huge hits, and anyone can instantly recognize them. Those Hold My Hand, Let Her Cry, Only Want to Be With You, and Time. Those 4 were like super, super hits. But the weird thing about it is that, the album was released in '94. The first single came out like then, but the last single that was a huge hit came out pretty much exactly a year after the album came out. Really crazy. And so it was, it stood the test of time there in the mid-90s. Oh, man, Hootie and the Blowfish. Pretty much immortalized in, at the University of South Carolina. And just, they must have had some sort of wild, crazy, like, live show. I don't know what the luster was, but people
about
eat them up, man.
You know about the street and 5 Points and the monument, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Robert and I are from Columbia, South Carolina, which is where Hootie and the Blowfish was formed at the University of South Carolina. And in 2000 and I want to say 10, when I was still working at the rock station, they had a big ceremony downtown in this area of downtown called 5 Points, where they renamed one of the streets Hootie and the Blowfish Boulevard and built some weird fucking modern art piece.
Yeah.
With a plaque dedicated to them.
Yeah. Really ugly.
Yeah, it's not attractive at all.
So, yeah, they got a street named after them in probably one of the shittiest places on earth.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Like in the shittiest part of one of those shittiest places. Yeah. Like 5 Points in Columbia is not a nice place.
That's like,
but it's where all the fucking bars are.
Yeah. So you're already in like the armpit of the South, right? But then you go to 5 Points, and then it's just like the pimple on the armpit of the South. Like the ingrown hair pimple. You know what I'm talking about? So, all right. Here we go again, Mike, with another alternative rock, hard rock, whatever you want to call it, singing style, where the key never changes and everything sounds the exact same. If you recall my comments on Mr. David Draymond from Disturbed, is that his name, David Draymond? From Disturbed. then I hold kind of the same opinion about Darius Rucker. Darius Rucker is a David Draymond style guy. They sing. They have no range in their voice at all. When they sing, I know I talk kind of monotony, but that's different.
You talk monotony, but you sing with inflection.
Yes. I'm sorry. One time in high school, I was in class and I was paired off with this one girl, and then she just told me flat out, we had to like read shit with each other or something like that, and she just looks at me and is like, you have a really monotone voice. I don't want to work with you. It's like, damn. It's like, she just told me she didn't, like, damn. But anyway, so and also Darius Rucker, along with David Draymond, kind of a really super overrated singer and songwriter. That for some reason just have massive amounts of star power. Like, everyone knows who Darius Rucker is. Everyone knows who Hootie and the Blowfish is. Everyone knows Disturbed and David Draymond. Like, Super Saiyan Gary Busey can't even compete with these dudes' power, man. They're just, they're stars. And it's amazing to me just how gullible the masses are. So there's that. I hate Darius Rucker's voice. I also hate the sheer, just simple and generic nature of every single track. This album is all just uninteresting poppy chords with an utterly lifeless and unenthusiastic 4/4 drum beat, sprinkled with like 4 catchy choruses. But somehow the radios in the 90s were just churning out this mindless drivel of music like it was going to grant 1994 like forgiveness for the birth of Bieber or something. And that was the year that Bieber was born, by the way. Laugh at my joke, Mike, you fuck.
In my defense, we're over Skype and there's a delay.
Oh, okay. I hate this album, and I hate that it was such a huge part of the 90s. I've heard those big 4 hits from this album more times than I'd like to admit. I think everyone has. Everyone knows those fucking songs. They're truly staples of the 90s, and I'm not sure exactly what that says about the 90s, that, you know, for a good portion of the 90s, that they were just stale and plain and uninspired, but catchy. And so, yeah. Cracked rear view. Hootie and the Blowfish. Go fuck yourself. Don't give a shit about this album. I don't give a shit about your history or your damn street name. I don't give a shit. I hate this. I don't know what to give it for stars. It's just, I don't, I guess it's, I hate it. It's a personal thing. It's not bad. It's, I can see why people are attracted to it. It's just kind of, it's just, you know, it's safe and catchy stuff. And that's not the way that music should be, but that's the way that pop music is, and so good for them. They've found the formula of mastery. You know, actually so this was their debut, right? Did they have this kind of success in any future endeavors aside from Darius Rucker doing that cover song?
Well, he's a solo artist now. He does a lot of country stuff. The next album, Fairweather Johnson, I mean, it hit #1. It went triple platinum.
Jesus Christ.
Then they had one in 98 that went single platinum. It peaked at #4. And then they did 2 more after that I don't remember a whole lot of. honestly, though, I mean, like, even as much as my mom was a fan of this stuff, I can't tell you any of the singles that came off of any of those other albums. Their 4 biggest singles ever came off of their first album and are still played in rotation to this day.
That's what you call putting all the spermies in one load, man.
Yeah, man.
Jizz. That's what I'm talking about, folks. Jizz.
Take a drink.
Oh, let's give it a half a star.
Half a star?
Half a star for me. I see why it's an epitome album of the 90s, but it's not good.
Okay. Well, and that's kind of my defense of why I picked it is, you know, when I think epitome of the 90s, I think what the fuck was everybody listening to? And it was this album. I mean, it's sextuple platinum. Those 4 songs, 4 of those 5 singles. Yeah, that's a lot.
They didn't have to make
records.
any more music after that.
No, they really didn't. And if you knew how hard it was for an album to go, for those of you at home who don't know, for an album to go platinum in the U.S. is harder than any other country in the world. We require more sales of an album to go gold or platinum or whatever in the U.S. than anybody else does. By a lot, by a huge margin. So for this to be sextuple platinum is ridiculous. Like, that's just unfathomable numbers.
Yeah. Darius Rucker got them real alligators, man.
Shit.
That's a real alligator on them booze, boy.
But yeah, that was the main reason I picked this one. Was, again, you're talking epitome of the 90s. I mean, this is what everybody was fucking listening to.
That's a very respectable choice.
Which is literally the only reason I picked it. I don't have a problem with Hootie and the Blowfish. For me, it's more nostalgic because, again, I'm a mama's boy, and this is what mom was listening to. She was a huge fan. It's her favorite band. Them and Huey Lewis and the News. Not sure why that other one, but those are her 2 favorites.
That's awesome.
She loves bands that are name, the word and a collection of nouns. Hootie and the Blowfish, Huey Lewis and the News, Gem and the Holograms. I don't know. But
that's awesome.
Pulled that reference out of my ass.
There you go.
Yeah, this was an album that's nostalgic for me for that reason, just because this is what I like. Some of the first music I ever listened to was Hootie and the Blowfish. I think for that reason is probably why I don't dislike it as much as you do. I don't love it. Like, I don't go out. I don't have any of this on my computer. I don't go out of my way to listen to Hootie and the Blowfish or Darius Rucker. I haven't listened to anything Darius Rucker's done solo.
You haven't heard that cover of Wagon Wheel?
Maybe, and I just don't realize it. I don't know. I hear so many covers of Wagon Wheel in this business that it's kind of like Wonderwall. You just hear it everywhere. Anywhere there's an acoustic guitar, you're hearing either Wagon Wheel or Wonderwall. If you go to karaoke, you're hearing at least one of those before the night is over.
You know, I can't stand that dude's voice. The singer for Oasis.
Yeah.
Wonderwall is a terrible song.
At all. It is, and I like Ryan Adams, and his cover is fine, but I hate that song just on general.
Ryan Adams should burn in hell.
So, yeah, I don't take as much issue with this. Again, like, it's not something I actively listen to by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm really salty this episode. I apologize.
I know. I was just so salty, man. You're so salty. You're such a salty individual.
It's all right.
But yeah, so like again, this was not meant to be like if we were going like favorite 90s album, like I'd be pulling some Pantera out of my butt, or cuz fucking Cowboys from Hell, man.
Yeah.
Or shit, if you want to go more radio friendly, fucking Third Eye Blind. Just saying.
Third Eye Blind.
Third Eye Blind. Something like that. Ben Folds 5.
Oh,
stuff like that.
I remember Ben
right?
Folds.
Yeah. Fucking Bush. I'd be pulling some Bush out of my ass.
Bush was good.
Yeah. Dude, I like Bush. They have gone south so hard in recent years.
They had that one album that had that. I can't even say that I've listened to an extensive amount of Bush, but I really liked that.
Yeah.
What was that song?
Glycerine.
Yeah.
Head. Glycerine's a tight song, man.
I used to play a cover of that.
It's a song. It's a one, and what I love about it is it's a one guitar song. That's all it is. It's just a man and his guitar. And it's a good song.
Yeah, he was a good lyricist. I like the lyrics.
I like Gavin Rossdale a lot. It's a shame that Bush sucks now, but
are they still making music?
Yeah, they are, and it's not good.
Shoo!
It's not good. They had an album come out last year. It's not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we were gonna, so that's the thing is like we weren't looking for our favorites of the '90s for this one. We were looking for, what sums up '90s music. And I will say, I think between the two of us, I think we made good selections in terms of what people were listening to in the '90s. Because you couldn't turn on a rock radio station and not hear either of the bands we picked for this week.
Yeah. True that.
You were usually hearing them back to back. I mean, it was just a fact of life, especially because by the time this album came out, Smashing Pumpkins put out like another 2, I think.
They went wild, man.
1 or 2. Because Melancholy, I think, came out a year before this one did. So
shit.
So I think we extremely succeeded in terms of picking epitome of '90s. If you're going to pick,
okay,
it's kind of like when we did the epitome of classic rock. I mean, it's hard to do better than Queen and who did you give me?
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, right? When you talk about classic rock, it's hard to beat Pink Floyd and Queen. Talking about the '90s, I mean, roll a die. You're probably gonna get one of these two. Roll a D6 and see what you get. Because there were pretty much 6 bands. I mean, there was a lot of fucking music coming out in the '90s. A lot. Just Google '90s music in America, and just the list of albums and artists that came out of the '90s is fucking insane.
We should have chose boy bands.
Man, we should have chose boy band. We really fucking should have. Considering Jingle Fest just happened in Chicago near you, one of my coworkers went to it, and it was like Fifth Harmony, whoever the fuck that is, some other artist. Taylor Swift was there.
Yes.
And the Backstreet Boys were there.
Beautiful. I get down on Taylor and Backstreet Boys all day.
Yeah. I would to see Backstreet Boys live. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I don't care if this cost me some heavy metal street cred. Fuck all of you. Backstreet Boys were the shit in the '90s, man.
Yeah. I was watching a video about Backstreet Boys yesterday actually, and they made music up until like 2012 or something. They had something come out.
They went hard. They had a bit of a lull where they didn't put anything out for a while.
Yeah,
but they were putting stuff out pretty steadily up until
I think
a couple years ago.
Yeah, they might have lost a couple members or something like that. But
there was I think one of the dudes dropped out for a while because he was in like rehab or some shit. But now they're all back. So it was the bad boy, whatever his name was. Anyway. Yeah, one of these days we're going to do a boy band episode.
Yeah, and we're also going to do what our favorites of the '90s are.
Yeah, we'll get into that stuff. 2018. 2018 is going to be good.
Yeah.
Speaking of 2018, it is right the fuck around the corner.
Yes, it is.
So, gonna let you guys know what's gonna happen going forward with Track Record. Don't panic, we're not going away. So next week's show, which will drop on this is dropping on the 20th, so
the 27th.
Thank you. I'm so tired.
It's in factors of 7 there, Mac.
But we are gonna be dropping on the 20th of December what our master list of the best albums of 2017. Are we doing top 10 or top 7? What are we doing?
I think we said we're going to do a top 10. So I guess we're each gonna pick 5, and we're gonna put them together, and order them up.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. So we're gonna do that. That'll be the show for next week on the 20th, and then we're not putting out a show the first week of January, just because at that point it'll be like Christmas time when we're recording it. And
wait a minute. Okay, so the 27th.
I'm sorry, I'm wrong.
The 27th, no episode because I'm gonna be gone.
Yeah.
And
I'm a week ahead. Let me rephrase that. So this show today dropped on the 13th.
Yes.
So on the 20th we'll be having our top 10 albums of 2017.
Yes.
And then we're taking that weekend off from recording because we record the weekend before because it's the holidays. Robert and his family are traveling. I'm going to be busy as hell with my family coming in town and working a lot. So we're just going to take the week off for the holidays, and then we'll be back the first week of January.
Hopefully.
Theoretically. If not, we'll let you guys know. We'll see about maybe having some other content to go up. I don't know yet. We'll see. We're kind of playing this by ear because it is the holidays and everybody's busy. But we know for a fact that next week on the 20th will be our top 10 albums of 2017.
Ooh, I can't wait for that.
It's going to be so much fucking fun. Because I will say, like, 2017 had some sleepers, but had some good sleepers. There was some music that came out this year that did not get a lot of press or attention, but Jesus Christ, it was good. So
if you're a metal fan, if you're a deathcore fan, then you definitely got treated this year.
And you really want to tune into next week's episode.
Yes.
I'm just saying. So look forward to that next week. And then we'll be taking a break on the 27th, and then we'll come back once everything is settled down.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. So, wow, this is weird. So usually we're talking about the albums we're going to do next week. So, I guess we have a show.
We have a show.
We have. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Fuck me. That was. I'm just remembering this. I'm getting a lot of memories from high school again. But we used to do this thing, and instead of like saying like "fuck you" to your friend, we'd pose it as a question. Fuck you? And then it was amazing. It's way better if you do it like that.
I'm gonna start doing that at work. See if it catches on.
What? Fuck you?
I teach children.
Oh,
Mr. Shea, I have my essay. Fuck you.
See, is it offensive like that?
Or is it I don't know. Maybe I won't try that at work. But
no.
Anyway, so make sure you guys tune in next week for our best albums of 2017. Make sure you guys, we got lots of good stuff coming out of Eventide on the music side. So make sure you go to our website, eventideent.com, for all the goings on there. You can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook as well. Make sure you check out the Patreon feed, help support all the podcasts and things going on here at Eventide. A lot of good stuff going on.
We're like on 17 different websites.
Jesus Christ, we're on fucking everything. SoundCloud, Tumblr, Twitter, Bandcamp. We don't have an Instagram yet. I'm working on that. Facebook, YouTube. We're on the YouTubes. Spreaker, iTunes. We're everywhere. It's really fucking hard to not find
Actually,
us.
I was exaggerating with 17, but it actually might be like near that number.
I think we're actually pretty close to 17. So we have a show. Make sure you guys check us out online. Check out next week's episode. Top 20 albums, top 10 albums of 2017. It's going to be a lot of fucking fun. Robert, any parting words for the lovely Lillian at home?
Yes, I would like to apologize for my remarks about Hootie and the Blowfish. They should not go fuck themselves. They are a staple of American culture, and I should respect that. So, shame on me, and also, fuck you, Hootie and the Blowfish.
I've talked enough. So my parting words are thank you guys for tuning in this week. And we will see you guys again next week.
Wait, just say something real sexy real quick.
Say something real sexy?
Yeah.
I just washed the dishes.
Oh, it's good.
Itches. All right.
Okay.
We'll talk to you. We'll see you guys again next week. Have a good night.
Cheers.
We're fucking retarded.
Yeah, a little bit.